But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense. The God of my mercy shall prevent me. God shall let me see my desire upon mine enemies. Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power, and bring them down, O Lord our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride, and for cursing and lying which they speak. Consume them in wrath, consume them that they may not be, and let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. Selah. And at evening let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city. Let them wander up and down for meat, and grudge if they be not satisfied.
Okay, who's been messing with the Bible? That can't be in the Bible. Where's all that uplifting prayer stuff? Where's that at? And look, this is in Psalms 59:15. Oh, I guess we got to be reading our Bibles more careful. There is a time to be praying for wrath. Okay, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let you look at that prayer that King David was saying. I'm going to let you look at it with the text.
But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense. The God of my mercy shall prevent me. God shall let me see my desire upon mine enemies. Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power, and bring them down, O Lord our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride, and for cursing and lying which they speak. Consume them in wrath, consume them that they may not be, and let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. Selah. And at evening let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city. Let them wander up and down for meat, and grudge if they be not satisfied.
Now, did you catch some of those words? Like consume them in wrath? Consume them? 2 times he said it. That they may not be, and let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. And what about that other one? This has kind of caught my eye about the verse dealing with wrath. Let them wander up and down for meat, and grudge if they be not satisfied. Now, to many of us today, that sounds awful mean, because meat, if you look at it in Hebrew text analysis, it's the word to eat. It's food. And they won't have food to eat. They'll be like dogs scavenging around, looking for food, trying to find it. Sounds like what's going to happen after Seal 6. But no. That one verse in Psalm saying that we may see with our eyes, see what God's doing. Of course, we could see with our eyes, even in heaven. Yeah, we're like witnesses in heaven in clouds, looking upon the earth, seeing what's taking place. We're a big cloud of witnesses in an arena. The earth and the world is the arena, and we're watching. We're spectators, watching, seeing what God does. And one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is the horse of famine. A measure of wheat for a penny. And, people have been starving throughout the ages of time, and they're still starving, but it's going to get worse. I believe it's going to get worse. That's why you got to be a Christian. You got to get saved. You got to have, you're under Murphy's Law. Everything bad that could happen will happen. And some of you Christians are even under Murphy's Law because you're disobedient. You're sinful. You're not following the way. You're following your own way. And, God will discipline you lovingly like a father to a child, but what's best for you. And sometimes what's best for you may seem like Murphy's Law. Everything you try to do is broken. Everything you try to do is unfixable because You're under that heavy hand of God's judgment. He's kind of like spanking you as a little child, spanking you with a rod. Now, Christians, they're really not of this world. We might buy things, but we belong to, a whole different society, a heavenly ones. We're called saints. And if it was all Christians here, the ones that are true Christians, bought by the blood of Christ there, and that we were doing the things that God wants us to do, this world would be heavenly. It'd be like heaven. It would reflect. But, I would put all the blame of the way the world's going on non-Christian folk. I really would. They think they're atheist. In fact, the biggest thing on news right now is everything to do about evolution. They just cannot admit that the Bible is true, that God created everything, and that his handiwork is plain. It's just like throwing pieces. They believe like throwing pieces of a Volkswagen, old beat up Volkswagen, and then it miraculously evolves into Ferrari. It just doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen in this life. It never will. And evolution, there might be small forms of evolving where, like people, they're evolving all the time by, one time they didn't wear sunscreen and their skin got all wrinkled. Some of us, like me, I still don't wear it. But anyway, you find that there's a better evolving way of maybe protecting your skin. I say just don't go out into the sun that much. But, we evolve as people. We learn, but not this evolution, cellular changing and DNA changing from a little microbe into maybe some kind of ape form and then to a man. But, back to food, famine, and people showing you their true nature. They're nothing but beasts. They're like animals. They're like dogs. And can you imagine people growling at one another when they find some food, when they're scavenging? If it gets so bad, they'll be breaking into buildings and they'll be looking for food. And that's what you do when you're an animal. You get food whenever, wherever, however you can. And, they expect a meat shortage in the UK, something to do with the gas that they use and for butchering and for... I think it's, to keep the freshness of the meat. Turning old and rancid, they use gas. But anyway, I read something on that today. But in the U.S., I don't know. We did have a meat shortage during the lockdowns and in Missouri and the mask-wearing days. We don't wear masks anymore. Only the people who are part of this corporation that have ties to the big city, they got to wear their mask. But it's kind of silly in the way that people of the, Missouri cities, they're not wearing any. They're going in and these people are all masked up. And maybe it's good because some people I've heard just recently going to work sick with a fever and they're going to work that way, and they're just going to spread it to everybody else. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to get over something like a flu. You don't want to be spreading it by being forced to go to work. They only give you 2 days. You go to the doctor and come with an excuse if it's more than 2 days. You know how it is at work. You have to sometimes go to work sick. They make you go to work sick, and there's going to be judgment and wrath on the people who make other people who are sick. They're going to be the ones catching it. That's what I believe. And you know what else is amazing too? You got to go to a doctor to get like more than 2 day leave for being sick. How are you supposed to afford a doctor when you're working at a low-paid job? You can't afford to go to no doctor. They don't even give you full time in order to, you know, to have insurance. You're going to pay that out of pocket, so you're punished. You're punished with the sickness. You're punished. Oh, Jesus, help us. That's what I say. And then you're punished to have to go to the doctor. So instead of going through all that, you're going to go to work sick, and maybe the mask is a little protection. Somebody sneezes, break it down a little bit. We know that masks don't work, that for, viruses or anything like that, but it might help, that from, just like put your hand over your mouth and your nose when you sneeze, or sneeze on your shoulder or something like that. It might, it might disperse it in a different area instead of right at you, the customer, in front of the clerk, sneezing all over the place. Maybe that plexiglass is a good thing to have in this day and age of mass contagions of all kinds of, viruses, cold sickness, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'll leave you with a happier note. If you look at verse 8 of chapter 6, it says, I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. The fourth part. A fourth part of the land. Those living in a quarter part of the land. It didn't have to be the fourth part of all the population of everyone who lived. No, it could be just a fourth part of the land at one time. And of course, the horsemen, they travel about. But anyway, it's a quarter. We're looking at a quarter. It could be worse. Could be far worse, I believe, after the massive earthquake. It will be far worse, the earthquake of Seal 6. But right now, it's limited. It's a limited judgment that's on the earth, limited wrath. I'll leave you with the loving words of Jesus. You know how many people, they like to quote John 3:16. Did you ever quote this one? I'll give it to you as I leave. It's found in John 3, verse 36. 3:16. 3:36. Why don't you read the whole context of everything and to get a better understanding? But he that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life. And he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. It's not something that it's coming for you. Well, the day of wrath is coming for you. It can get worse. But right now, if you don't have the Son, you don't have the life. And the wrath of God is abiding on you right now at this moment. That's why I said you're in the Murphy's Law. You're in it. You're in it. Everything that you try to do in life will just turn out bad. Maybe it's some girl that you so much you love, but she doesn't love you. Well, that's part of wrath too. Everything in life, it just turns against you when you hate God and you hate the Christ. Sorry to say it, but it's not all love. If you don't believe on Christ, the wrath of God abideth on you. It sounds hard, but you got to take the whole scripture. You got to read every verse in the Bible. If you're lost, just call on Jesus right now. Just say, Jesus, or something like that. Be merciful to me, a sinner. I know I've sinned. I've fallen short. I've transgressed all your laws, most of them. And I need forgiveness. I need washing. I need cleansing. I want to be holy. I want to be a saint by your blood. Holiness cometh from the blood of Christ, cleansing you from all sin, and you can truly be what? A saint of God. And then you'll be ready for the rapture. You'll be ready, if you should die, a deathly rapture. You ever think of that, huh? You're going to see God one way or another. Either it's alive or, it'll be like sleep. you'll fall asleep and you'll wake up in a new you'll wake up in heaven, and then you'll go get your new resurrected body. And you're going to the rapture too. The dead in Christ shall rise first, and then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together, with them in the clouds to meet Christ in the air. So either way, we're going to be there at that moment. Either we die or whether we live, we are of God, and glory to his name. See you all later. Bye.